There is no truth until you decide what truth is. Each person should find that truth out for his or herself.
You know what? Global family, look in the mirror. I want you to take a good look. You are the champion, the hero of your story. No matter how much praise you may give some of us who may help you on this journey, it is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Tony, again, I give you accolades for, I don't even know what to say, for all the efforts, man, that you put in my behalf.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is.
It is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Person should find that truth out for his or herself.
To help you see.
For his or herself.
All right. Greetings, everyone. I hope you are doing okay within your space and time. I mentioned time. There are only 1,440 minutes in a day. No matter who you pray to or what your belief system is, you are not going to get even 1 minute more added to your life. So use your time wisely. So, as we begin here in a moment, I hope you have your favorite beverage of choice handy for our conversation. My beverage tonight is a mixture of many different herbs with some goji berries. As your tea is steeping, throw some goji berries in it. Allow them to infuse with the melody of the ingredients. Afterward, if you so choose, they will be soft enough to eat as well. Goji berries have properties that protect the entire body, whether it be boosting the immune system, promoting healthy skin, and even helps with the eyes and may help those who deal with bouts of depression, anxiety, etc. I throw about a tablespoon worth in all of my freshly brewed teas. All right. I would like to thank all of you for your constant and consistent participation, whether it be for your personal health and wellness, your families, as well as your friends. Also, I would like to thank you for the participation within this channel. For the last few weeks, I've been putting up posts asking you what subjects you would like talked about, and you all have been participating, letting me know. If you haven't yet voted, when you click on the Meta Center YouTube channel, click on the community tab, it will show the latest poll. There you can vote on the next subject to be talked about. Let's see here. But, all right. So first, product spotlight. Many of you know that we have been selling heirloom seeds on the website for about 4 years now. From ancient herbs to original vegetables that used to grow 100 to 300 years ago. Well, the latest for the collective is echinacea seeds. Yes, the prized echinacea. That is known the world over for boosting the immune system, fighting off illness, and what many claim to have anti-cancer properties. Well, now you can grow your own. They are at $6.50. It's excellent to grow in warmer climates, but can be grown in containers and in cooler climates with care. So let's move on. As such, let's see here. I think I need to turn my mic a little bit. Let's see, is that better for some of you? All right. So tonight we'll be having a short podcast covering the subject of the sanctity of sacredness. What brought this about? First, many have been in a state of limbo for so long that when they have come out from that plane of existence, they forgot the ways that keep things in balance, in short. Second, there are those who you will find all over the various media at this time that talk about subjects or show intimate things in one form or another, or even ideas that were never meant to be ever shared because those are sacred, let alone personal. So first, let's start this off by going to the very basics. Let me pull up my screen here. Give me one moment. All right. So what does sanctity mean via Google Dictionary? It is the state or quality of being holy, sacred, or saintly. All right. So what does sacred mean via Google Dictionary? Means connected with God or the gods, or dedicated to a religious purpose, and so deserving veneration, i.e., sacred rites. So, what does veneration mean via Google Dictionary? It means great respect or reverence. So, and Wikipedia says about sacred is that sacred describes something that is dedicated or set apart for the service or worship of a deity, considered worthy of spiritual respect or devotion, or inspires awe or reverence among believers. The property is often ascribed to objects or places, but it can be an idea, it can be in person as well. So, something sacred is something you hold dear. Many in this time have held, they do not understand nor know what it means to hold something dear because most of their life has been the opposite of sacred. But let's do a new age example. We're going to talk about marijuana, aka also known as cannabis, BKA, better known as weed. I've seen some hold marijuana, a plant, to such high esteem that it may as well be a god because they pray to it. If you tell them to stop or chill on the smoking, because it is affecting their communication, emotions, their temperament, or their work, it would literally be telling them to denounce their god or goddess, literally. So let's get into some story time. A short time ago, we had a private project that I had brought together some fascinating people to bring forth an idea. They understood the importance of it, and as the project was moving forward, I kept catching these very odd and seemingly random mistakes. It got to the point where I went to the studio and asked the group who worked on this and who worked on that. And the same person raised their hand. So I called her into the office and I noticed something was off. I'm like, sis, are you high? She said, yes. And how she works better like this, etc., etc. So, you know, the typical excuses those types tend to say. So now let me say, I don't have anything against the herb. As of course, as many of you know, one of my titles is herbalist, and it is a herb. So I have nothing against herbs, but there are many different herbs that can affect your mental state. And many herbs, not just marijuana, there are many other herbs that you should not be taking if you have work to do and you need to be focused. But there's a time and place for everything. Okay? So she says she works better chemically lobotomized, but yet you're making mistakes. Literally, if I didn't catch them, it would have increased the project costs. Do you understand this? She has stated yes, and then came high again, making mistakes. She was booted from the project. So smoking the herb was more important than being part of a once-in-a-lifetime project or even paying your bills. What? It doesn't make any sense, okay? So one rather smoked the hybrid chemical weed from the local dispensary. So what was sacred to her more than even operating properly in life was the chemical lobotomizing, brain damaging dispensary weed. Are you serious? Let's spell serious, S-I-R-I-U-S. I got to drink that brought back some memories. I have to drink some tea off of that. Excuse me. Oh, okay. So, oh man. So another story. So in the year 2020, we have all experienced events that have changed the direction of many people's lives. The heads of these draconian enterprises all got together and made it so everything that you could call sacred or at least entertaining was canceled. Not only was the local shops, but theaters and clubs, concerts, and for most houses of worship, whether it be churches, temples, or synagogues. As stated in the last podcast, the Aquarian Age, a war has been declared between science and faith. So your then attention was only on them, only on so-called science, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And only thing you were allowed to globally to watch was the take by take of what science has to say. Gradually programming the world in a way it will be, as a prelude of what is to come in the new age. And as this reset continues, everything from the money supply to the very way people even communicate will be changed, or at least attempted to be changed in a very specific direction by very specific entities. Sacredness, the more you're, let's say, the most intimate ideas, your most intimate ways of being can be stripped, the more secular you become. In the religious sense, this would be the more cursed, but it's deeper than this. Because without being religious, you can still hold ideas, persons, places, or things sacred. And the opposite of that, it's still considered cursed, unworthy, unholy, or profane. In the New Age movements across the internet, many try to fool others or try to convince them they are the one, which we know them as Muwa. And we have talked about it in detail going back to the late 2019 so that you all may be able to proceed forth on track without being fooled. Let's go over a scenario. First, you have a person, or let's say, or people who grandstand on your favorite social media platforms, and they would tell you that they are sharing the most secret of secrets with all of you. This makes people feel special, of course. And one could think this person is giving us the edge. Yes. We getting the edge. We getting the edge.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So either two things are happening. Either this person is really sharing sacred, holy, divine information that should never be just thrown out to the profane, the unworthy. Now, I'm not saying you who are listening right now to my voice are unworthy, but there will be people who are listening or watching who would be. And so this person is literally throwing out the most sacred information. And if so, then this really shows you the type of person they are, that they are willing to throw out these acts of sanctity. Also, you can give them praise, accolades, so they can be looked at as the one, which shows they are muwa or they're tainted. Knowing what sacredness is, shouldn't this start to bring up the red flags? No matter the age we are in, currently in the so-called Pisces moving into Aquarius, there will also be that which is sacred of each house, and the most sacred of which is of the great house. Or it could be number 2. It really isn't sacred information at all. And it is a good display of theatrics, which try to convince you all to do what? Again, to look at them as special. So no matter which choice you choose, the end result isn't good. There are a few people who I used to converse with, and an emphasis on used to meaning past tense, because the last few have been left in 2020, who used to ask me over and over about superhuman information, used to ask me about the secrets of the class, what is shared, what are they seeing, etc. Trying to see what is so different about it than what they can find on YouTube, etc. In which they literally could have come to in seeing the experiment, the reality breaking world changes, seeing the live telepathic communication with their own eyes. So the subject is avoided, and we talked about meaningless subjects for a time before moving on. Sacredness and sanctity. The sanctity of sacredness. So let's give even another example here. So, all right, so we will start with the men and then move on to the women. So one of the most sacred aspects of a man is his mind. Now we are talking about a man, not a boy, and we're talking about a man who uses his mind, not one who taints it, etc. Typically, this type of man has something he is always into, whether it be projects, ideas, etc. This type of man's home or a space in his home is dedicated to this sacredness. Sometimes this could be called a hobby. The men in the audience who this is describing, would you just let some random person on the street to invade this space? Would you? Would you let some random person you don't know just to come into this space and run amok? Of course not. Because it is an external representation of what is internally in your mind. And you prize your thoughts, etc. The more a man, that is, prizes his sacred space, the more secret or protected this area becomes. Fortification, biometrics, security guards, dogs, torrents, laser beams, and even gods guarding the doors. A man's mind, this sacred space that tends to change external spaces in the real world, is the mind equivalent to the woman's sacred space. The woman's sacred space is her womb. In this sacred space, the seed, also called the template, is given and is constructed. And at the moment construction reaches a very early stage, a person from one of the houses makes its home. In the new and specifically in the feminist movement, as far as the New Age that is, and specifically in the feminist movement, there has been this strange push from women to defile themselves, to give up this sacredness, to have experiences. Because it's supposed to make you more powerful, more well-rounded. But all it did was give away the one thing you can never get back. Okay? All this born again stuff and everything, that's all nonsense. Okay, that factually actually can never get it back. At least with a man, he can think of new ideas. But a woman's sacredness is so much more, that it is like a one-time powerful act. And if you didn't know, I'm talking about virginity. Okay, but even after the virginity, the womb is still sacred. But we're talking about virginity here. Now, the Muwa and the witches will argue about this, that a woman should play around. But yet, the world over, in every aspect of the height of the oracle and in femininity, the less experienced woman is prized well over the one that has these unholy worldly experiences. In these times, especially in the fertility markets, to high net worth people, if you are a woman whose eggs are viable, but you've had tons of sexual partners, and they do tests and things to know this, because of course the person will lie to try to get more. Okay. they will be like,
hell no, no.
but let's say you only had one, literally only factually one sexual partner. Then you can literally get over 100K plus. Okay, especially if you are a certain, your genetics are a certain way, which I'm not going to get into. This for something totally different topic and podcast. But let's say you are a virgin. In the fertility markets, this is literally worth millions of dollars. Like literally a version of a certain way could literally, if money is prized more than her sacredness, could literally gain millions of dollars on that market by allowing her to carry a seed and so on and so forth. So even when it comes to outright fertility in the third dimension, the sacredness of a virgin is worth 1,000 times, 100,000 times that of the so-called experienced woman who has given away her sacredness. Facts. Sacredness and sanctity. The sanctity of sacredness. And so it is.
This enchanted love of ours.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is, and each person should find that truth out for his or herself.
This enchanted love of ours. This enchanted love of ours.
You know what? Global family, look in the mirror. I want you to take a good look. You are the champion, the hero of your story. No matter how much praise you may give some of us who may help you on this journey, it is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Tony, again, I give you accolades for, I don't even know what to say, for all the efforts, man, that you put in my behalf.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is.
It is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Person should find that truth out for his or herself.
To help you see.
For his or herself.